Alright, so, previewing this game, we actually got to see a little bit of our opponent, as opposed to last week's preview video that obviously we didn't get to play the Buccaneers, which really sucks. But we got a little taste of what the Chargers might look like going into Sunday's game. Obviously, this is a new-look coaching staff for the San Diego Chargers. I was really interested to see how much of Mike McCoy's offense they keep, and it looked pretty much the same. They ran a lot out of the shotgun, same kind of draw plays that they ran with Mike McCoy, same kind of game plan, and same way they utilized Melvin Gordon, so pretty much the same. But one thing that I noticed on defense, and obviously the Chargers are they're injured at the linebacker position. They lost Manti Te'o at the in the offseason. Obviously Denzel Perryman, he suffered another injury, so their linebacker unit is pretty weak right now. And what we saw in that game is they were able to run the football on the Chargers front, which is not easy to do. The Chargers front is very talented, obviously, but they are missing some pieces at the linebacker position. C.J. Anderson had 81 yards rushing, and Jamal Charles had 41 yards rushing. So in total, well over 100 yards rushing on that San Diego Chargers defense. So, and no disrespect to C.J. Anderson or Jamal Charles, but J.J. is in his prime, and I think he's more talented than C.J. Anderson or Jamal at this point in his career. And I think our offensive line is more talented as well than the Denver Broncos offensive line. So I think we have a really good idea of how the offense is going to go into this game. Obviously, a year ago when we played the Chargers, I think Jay had 60, 70 yards rushing. The Chargers really stacked the box in that game. They really stacked the box in that game, and that let Tannehill really just eat up their secondary for one of his best games of his career. So if they do that again, I would expect that Jay Cutler could take advantage of the same kind of defensive looks that they if they do that, if they stack the box, which I would assume they would do, obviously knowing that J.J. is in the backfield and that he's going to get the ball, he's going to be a vocal point of this offense. But the point is I think with their injuries to the linebacker unit, what we saw on Monday night, which could just be, obviously it's week 1, you can't take a ton out of week 1, but we're only going into week 2. I think our offense can really get some push up front. And get some blocks on the second level, let Jay get loose a little bit, especially since their linebackers are injured. They do still have Jatavis Brown, who's a very good player, but other than that, they have Corey Toomer and Kyle Emanuel, Kyle Emanuel is obviously more of a tweener guy, and Corey Toomer has been around the league for a while. So I think we can take advantage of the running game, and if they want to stack the box this game and give us more one-on-one matchups on the outside, I think we can take advantage of that. Their secondary, not their corners, but their safeties, have question marks there. Obviously, Jaleel Addae, he had a very good season last year. But the other guy that they took off the street, Trey Boston from Carolina, he really struggled, especially against the deep ball last year. So maybe that's somewhere we can take some shots and really test the free safety of the Chargers. If they stack the box, I think we can really take some shots, especially off play action. We were able to do that last year, but we can definitely take some shots on Trey Boston, who definitely struggled to cover the deep ball last year. And I watched a lot of Panthers games last year. My brother is a Panthers game fan, so I watched a lot of Trey Boston. So I think we can take advantage of some of that. He likes to play closer to the line. Than play, straight up free safety, really let him be the rover and, roam the field there. So I think we can definitely take some shots downfield if they stack the box. And if they leave one-on-one matchups with Devontae Parker, Kenny Stills, and Juice Landry, that's going to be a long day for them. So they got to pick their poison in this game. And obviously if they don't stack the box against Jay's going to have a really good day. And that's going to allow everybody else to really take advantage of the running game and off of play action. And we're going to be able to do play action anyway, just because of who Jay is. And I would expect Anthony Lynn to come into this game and their game plan to stack the box. But again, you got to pick your poison. It's very similar. I'm not comparing our offense to the Falcons, but it's very similar to the Falcons in that we have tremendous weapons at the skill positions on the outside of the football. And then we have tremendous talent in the backfield as well, and we have a very solid offensive line. So you really have to pick your poison when you game plan for our offense. It's very hard to do so, and especially since we added depth at the tight end position, it makes it even tougher. So I think we can definitely run the football on this Chargers defense. If they don't stack the box, we'll take our shots downfield. All right, let's talk about the defensive side of the football. And, this is obviously the most talented positional group on the team. That's the defensive line. I know it sounds a little redundant because they were a vocal point in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, but get used to it because it is the most talented positional group on the defense. And when you look at some of the matchups we're going to get, and when you look at the Chargers depth chart, there are some definite matchups there that we can take advantage of. Obviously, the Chargers suffered some unfortunate injuries to their offensive line in training camp. Obviously, Forrest Lamp, their second-round pick out of Western Kentucky, suffered an ACL. He was going to be a very key contributor to their offense. Was very high on the Miami Dolphins draft board as well. He could have been a Dolphin. So he was a very talented player, and obviously he's going to miss the season. So their offensive line is a little beat up, and this is some of the players that I think we can take advantage of here. When you look at, we're just going to go through their entire depth chart here. At left tackle, they have Russell Okung. Obviously, Russell Okung has been around the league a very long time. He's had a long career, but in the latter stage of his career, he's shown some weaknesses there. He's definitely not as quick as he used to be, and some superstar defensive linemen, some great pass rushers in the league have been able to take advantage of that. And then when you look at their guard position, they have Matt Slauson at left guard. At center, they have Spencer Pulley, and at right guard, they have Kenny Wiggins. And at right tackle, they have Joe Barksdale. So there are some serious matchups there that we can take advantage of. I think this offensive line is a little less talented than the Buccaneers' offensive line when you look at it. They don't have a lot of, if any, Pro Bowlers on this offensive line, actually. So we can definitely take advantage of this offensive line, and that's going to be a very key to this game. And when you look at it, and some of the players that can have a good day on the defensive line, we know Sue's going to get his double teams because he can wreck a game plan. We know Wake's going to get his double teams on third down. So who out of everybody else needs to step up? I think Davon Godchaux needs to have a really good rookie debut, and I expect him to have one. The Dolphins plan to rotate the defensive tackles. I think you're going to see Devon more on obvious passing downs. You are going to see him on base downs, don't get me wrong. You're going to see him on base downs. You're definitely going to see more than you see Jordan Phillips. But I think Jordan Phillips is going to be more of our, all right, Jordan, you're going to go in here and help us against the run. And I would think you would see him on some pass downs too. Jordan obviously has very good rush ability with his athleticism. But like I said, Sue's going to get his double teams. Wake's going to get his double teams. So who's going to step up and take advantage of one-on-one matchups? And I think that player is going to be Davon Godchaux. He's going to get a lot of one-on-ones, and what he did best coming out of the SEC is rush the passer because of his low pad level. And he's very quick, very strong, and he's got some great moves we saw in preseason. So I think Devon, for us to have a ton of success on defense, he's going to have a really good game. We don't need him to have a good game, like a good game to succeed on defense. There's some other players on this defensive line that can get hot as well. But I think Davon Godchaux is going to have a great opportunity, especially pushing the pocket in the middle and in the interior of that offensive line. He's going to have a great opportunity to do that. He's going to see a lot of one-on-ones. It's going to be interesting to see if he can take advantage of that. He might see some blown pass protection coverage as well because of the double teams in the interior of that offensive line. It's very hard to double team somebody right in the middle of the offensive line. So we'll see what Davon Godchaux can do, but I think he's going to have a really good game. If he can continue his strong play from preseason, there's all signs point to, he's going to have a great game. So he's going to see a lot of one-on-ones. We'll see if he can take advantage of that. Another very interesting thing that we saw in preseason is how Matt Burke is going to call a game. Now, one of the things I thought about Matt Burke is, I didn't think he was going to call as exotic of plays that Vance did. Obviously, Vance, dropping defensive linemen in coverage, blitzing somebody out, sending somebody else that you don't expect to be sent, really confusing the quarterback in the pass protection, and then somebody's going to come free and hit your quarterback. So we saw that in preseason. Matt Burke did that. He dropped defensive linemen back in coverage a lot, and I think why the Dolphins did that is to show some of the things that we're going to do in regular season, is so that the players could get acclimated to how Matt Burke is going to call a game, which is a really good move by the Dolphins organization. So, I think you're going to see some really crazy sub packages on third down. Just because Matt Burke, seeing how he calls games, is very similar to Vance Joseph, and you saw that with Vance. He was very creative, obviously using Mario Williams as a defensive tackle. So he was very creative in what he did. So I think Matt's going to do some similar things to that, and obviously people are really wondering what Charles Harris is going to do his rookie debut. I think you're going to see Charles do some crazy things in sub packages. I would not be surprised if you saw him standing up, very similar to what OV did, and let him go get after the passer. Because Charles, especially his rookie year, I think he's the best way to utilize him, especially in this game, is on third down. I think that's what that's obvious from what we saw in preseason. He still needs he has a lot to learn in the run game and setting the edge in the NFL especially. So, but he's a tremendous pass rusher. So on third down, you're going to see a lot of Charles Harris, but I think you're going to see a lot of exotic things with Charles Harris. Don't be surprised if he plays outside linebacker at a time. We send him on a blitz, or he plays with his hand in the dirt, and we drop him back in coverage. So you're gonna see some crazy. I would expect you to see some crazy things with Charles Harris, but I think Davon Godchaux and this defensive line can really take advantage of that Chargers offensive line in the passing game. All right, let's talk about some ways that I think the Chargers offense is going to attack our defense. So obviously, going and looking back at the 2016 game, the Chargers saw obvious flaws in the Miami Dolphins' middle in terms of coverage. So they ran a lot of deep crossing routes with Tyrell Williams. You saw obviously scoring a touchdown, and not only that, he continued to run that play to get multiple first downs and, big chunk plays. They ran a lot of crossers over the middle of the football field. Obviously, one of their touchdowns was to Antonio Gates, dead center in the middle of the football field in the end zone. So that is going to be something that the Chargers are going to continue to do, is run deep crossing routes with their receivers, with, ups the seam routes with, obviously the chemistry between Phillip and Antonio is off the charts. They're going to run those routes in that they're going to attack the middle of the football field. That is where their passing game is going to go. That is what they're going to do. They haven't seen our new look defense with Lawrence Timmons. Obviously, Rashad's back. So there are some new pieces on that defense. And our defense, as of right now, is way better than it was when we played the Chargers in that game. But in terms of their passing game and how Phillip Rivers is going to attack our defense, it's going to be no different from last year. They are going to attack the middle of that football field. I think it's going to be tougher for them to do that. Obviously, I think we have better... obviously, our safeties are just 1,000 times better than they were when we played them. So the deep crossing routes, I think, with Rashad there, and obviously Nate Allen, who I think is a better, those two are definitely better than what we had in that game. I think we can take advantage of some of those things. So they're gonna do it. It's just gonna be, can we contain it? I think they're gonna hit on a couple of them maybe, because of we really didn't see improvement in the preseason, but I think the talent level is better. We should see better. Our coverage should be better in this game, but they are going to attack the middle of the football field. I think Rashad, now that obviously that we have Rashad back and Nate Allen, hopefully they can pick some of those off. We disguise the coverage maybe, but they are going to attack the middle of that football field. So let's talk about who I think the vocal point of this their offense is going to be going into this game. Obviously, our running defense, I think, is going to be the best it's been in many years. So if they're gonna get Melvin Gordon involved. That's going to be their number one thing on offense. We got to feed Melvin Gordon the football. We got to give him the ball on the ground. We got to get him involved in the receiving game. So I think the talent level, especially up front, when adding William Hayes, obviously Davon Godchaux, who had a tremendous preseason, is going to help us a ton in the running game. A ton. It's going to allow Sue, I think you're going to see Sue take advantage of some of the talent that's around him. And obviously he makes talent around him better, and the talent that is around him now is the best he's had since he's been a Dolphin. So I think we're going to really take advantage. If they're going to try to get Melvin Gordon involved in any way they possibly can. So they're going to run the football a lot. But I think the run defense is going to be fine. I think they're going to be just fine, especially week one. They're going to be rested. They're going to be ready to go, and they're healthy, and they're better. The talent there is, especially Will Hayes, is going to take advantage of that. So I think our run defense is much improved from a year ago. But they're going to get Melvin Gordon involved in the pass game. You saw that a lot in that the Monday Night Football game against the Broncos. They tried to get him the ball as much as they possibly could because Melvin Gordon's a very good player. So they're going to try to get him the ball in any way they possibly can. So this is what's going to have to happen if we're going to stop some of that stuff in the passing game. Our linebackers listen, the only one that I'm worried about is who's playing in the middle. I don't know we still don't know, especially since the injuries, who's going to start in the middle of the football field. but let's just say it's going to be Ray Maluga or Mike Hull. Our outside linebackers, all of our linebackers, have to do a great job of tackling in the open field. Not just the linebackers, but the corners and the safeties. Melvin's going to get a lot of screens. Melvin's going to catch a lot of balls in the middle of that football field, and he's going to try to make somebody miss and get some yardage. Make your tackles, because most of the stuff that they're going to try to do is going to be run after the catch with Melvin Gordon. We just have to make our tackles. If he catches that ball on third down in the flat and there's just one guy between him and the first down, or there's two guys between him and the first down, make your tackle. That they're going to try to get him in as many favorable run after the catch situations as possible. So as a defense, you know that's what they're going to do. So you just got to come up and make your tackles. That's all you got to do. And it's simple. It sounds so simple, but it's so hard when you're trying to tackle Melvin Gordon. I mean, if you think it's easy, it's not, trust me. But Matt Burke, the number one guy that we have to stop on that Chargers offense is Melvin Gordon. That should be the number one priority, is Melvin Gordon. If Monday night's game tells us anything, Melvin Gordon is the guy we need to stop, because it's going to take pressure off of Phillip, and it's going to allow him to, be more efficient down the football field. So we have to stop Melvin Gordon. All right, let's talk the Miami Dolphins passing game. So this is what I would think it's 100% going to happen, is that they are going to stack the box against our offense, which I think would be a mistake. I think you got to really be very creative of how you stop our offense and try to take away or try to guess who we're going to game plan to have a great game in this game. But if they do stack the box, which I think that is what they're going to do, the Dolphins' quick passing game has to be on point. The timing is everything. Ball placement is everything against the secondary. The timing is so important. One of the things that, when you watch the Eagles game with Jay Cutler, and some of the things the one thing that I thought he did wrong is he needs to be more, there were some plays where, or just one in particular, really, where he needs to be more patient with the football. He tried to hit Jay on a slant. Ron Darby jumped it, hit him in the back, and the ball flew in the air, right? That's all timing. If he waited a second longer, Kenny Stills is wide open on an out route. And he had all day in that pocket. There was no pressure. He wasn't hurried. If he just waited at literally maybe a millisecond, he could have thrown the ball. He could have, thrown it early. Kenny would have got out of his break, caught the ball. It would have been a first down. So chemistry and timing in this game is going to be something that I think all fans are going to be looking at. We saw a lot of really, really, really good offenses this past Sunday's slate of games and Monday, where they have a lot of talent on their offense, but there's a lot of new faces on that offense. And even if there isn't a lot of new faces on that offense, it takes a minute for, especially an NFL offense, it's harder to score in the league than it is to play defense, because you're just waiting for the offense to make a mistake. On offense, you're trying not to make that mistake, so it's more difficult. So as an offense, especially since we have a new quarterback, the timing and chemistry is everything. The feel for the other players with Jay Cutler. Listen, Jay's a vet. He's been around the league a while, and that's going to get him a long way. And just in general, it doesn't matter what offense he's in. But the timing and chemistry with the other players is going to be very, very key. Be patient in that pocket. I think patience is going to be something with Jay. Because chemistry, it all comes down to chemistry and timing. So that's going to be very important. I really want to see where the offense is at this point. Because again, like I said, a lot of offenses this past Sunday struggled with a lot of new faces on it. We can't struggle in this game. So I think hopefully the chemistry is where it needs to be for a full 60-minute game, a full 4 quarters. And hopefully it is. And another thing, obviously the Dolphins have, in general, like I said, we got to stop getting 3rd and 10s. We got to stop getting 3rd and 15s. We got to stop getting 3rd and 16s. We got to stop holding penalties, dumb stuff, false starts, all of that stuff, starting, 1st and 15 with a false start. You can't do that. You can't do that. You're not, on a consistent basis, you're going to struggle to pick those up. So we need to get as many short yardage situations as we possibly can. And I think a way we can do that is execute on the little things. Execute on the screens, especially. Adam calls a lot of screens, and 99.9% of the time, they're not executed right. They're executed very poorly. This is the second year in this offense for these receivers. They need to do a better job of executing it. They just need to. And that's going to help us get in more second or short yardage situations. In the quick passing game, which is not an area the Dolphins have struggled to execute in, but it needs to be on point this game to get in second and shorts. You see those little stick routes that are 3 or 4 yards. They're important. You have to complete those. It helps the rhythm of an offense, and it helps the chemistry with the players. It gives the quarterback a good feeling. It gets him hot, and it just overall the confidence of the offense goes up, even on those short dink and dunk routes. So execute the short pass. Execute the short passes, get us in favorable down and distance, get us in 3rd and 3s, 3rd and 5s, 3rd and 6s even, because we can get 6 yards on 3rd down with the talent on this offense. But just execute the little things, execute screens, execute the quick passing game, and that comes again with rhythm and chemistry. So hopefully we see that, and those are going to be two vocal points in this game that I think are going to be very important to the success of the Dolphins offense. Alright, so just a couple more nuggets before we get out of here. One of the things I think, obviously, we talked about the deep crossing routes, that I think is going to be one of the probably more spam things that's going to happen in this game, is man coverage. I think our defense, especially our corners, and to limit busted coverages, our man defense is way better than our zone. When you see some of the big plays on any team against us, it's busted coverages, it's bad zone execution. So I think man defense is something that Matt Burke needs to really utilize more in this game, especially make it tougher, make the windows smaller. And I trust our corners. I think we have talent there. The only one that is a little iffy right now is Byron, but Xavier has looked amazing in preseason. Cordrea looked amazing in preseason. So and Alteron Werner, he's looked really good as well. And so as Bobby you haven't really heard a peep from Bobby, which is a good thing because he's not played bad at all. He's played pretty good. So I think man coverage is something that Matt Burke needs to utilize in this game, especially on key downs. Don't play zone coverage, play man. Even though our pick 6 in Kiko was, I think it was zone. So yeah, he dropped back, looked like a double gap blitz, and fooled Phillip Rivers. But I think utilizing the man defense in this game is going to be will benefit our team, and I think it fits our talent on this team more than zone. On the offensive side of the football, don't do anything stupid. Don't shoot yourselves in the foot. Just let the game come to you. Again, chemistry, timing, comfortability with the other players, trust in the other players. When the big plays are there, make sure you make them on deep shots. If somebody's wide open, make the throw, make the catch. On offense, just don't do anything stupid to hurt yourself. That's all I have to say about the offense. I think the pass protection should be good with both of our tackles. It's going to be a tough day with Melvin Gordon and Joey Bosa. Just don't get in down and distance. Another thing I have to say about the offense, start off fast. You don't want to have to come back from behind against this Chargers defense. If they give more opportunities to rush the passer, that's not going to be good. So that goes for the defense and the offense. Start off fast. Start off fast. If we start off fast, we can really, especially on the road, it's going to really benefit both positional groups on the defense and the offense. It's going to allow the offense to really utilize the game plan that they have. Even though Adam Gase is really good about, if he is down in the game, he doesn't go away from his game plan. But it just helps the offense mentally and the defense mentally in that game. So start off a little bit faster this game. That's all I really have to say for this game. And let me know what you guys think. What you guys think needs to happen in this game, what you really want to see some particular players do in this game, who has to have a big game in this game, what rookie are you excited to see play. And I am Skagster1083, and this has been your Miami Dolphins preview for this week, and I will see you guys in the next one.